Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for stopping by another full six-pack worthy episode of Posts and Pints. As always, my name is Matt, and I'm going to be doing my best to get us home with all this fresh beer. As always, I am joined by the best team in podcasting, Kyle, Dre, and Alex, behind the scenes, making sure I'm not going on rants like I'm doing right now. This is episode 41, and guys, if we're talking professional athletes who are the number 41, there is only one. It's Dirk Nowitzki, the 7-foot-tall German who knows how to sink threes and make LeBron James cry. Through this episode, we are going to be breaking down some of the biggest games in MLS this past week. We are only a few weeks away. Actually, no, we are 1 week away from Decision Day. The games are coming thick and fast. And guys, not only that, we have a very special guest joining us today. We have Tim from the Top Bins Talk podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. That interview is going to be absolutely incredible. I can already feel it. I don't even have to worry about it one bit. And I'm just glad Kyle has someone to talk Roma with, to be honest with you.
I've never been more excited to find somebody else that likes mediocre things.
But guys, we have business to discuss. And by business, it's business in liquid form. And I'm going to start this off with Alex first. I think Alex went last week, but I can't be confirmed. But Alex, what are you enjoying this evening?
Water.
So I'm actually, and I mean, I feel like I can speak for both me and Kyle if he wants to chime in here since he made me this drink. But I am actually drinking Jack and Pepsi. Not Coke, but Pepsi.
We didn't have Coke.
Shout out to Pepsi, bro.
It was
Shout
a thing.
We didn't have Coke, and the Jameson was upstairs. So
I just wanted a Jack and Coke. It's been that kind of week, and it's fucking Monday.
Hey, it's a long...
I'll give you a shoulder rub later, buddy. Don't worry about it.
It's a long Monday. And I'm going to go down the list that I see on Discord here. And Dre, that means you are next, sir.
So, everyone knows that the whole world has different wine producing regions. We have the LA area, we have Argentina and Chile and Australia and obviously France.
And
so this is from one of the, yeah, I don't know about all that Arkansas wine, maybe Mad Dog or something, but
Mad Dog wine.
This is some wine that comes from one of the ex-Soviet Union's only wine producing countries in Georgia. And that
you have vodka. Just say you're drinking vodka then.
No, it's not. It's actually like Georgia makes pretty good wine.
You can't make wine out of potatoes, Dre.
So this is
vodka.
Now, excuse the pronunciation because the Georgian language, you can break your tongue just speaking it. But I believe this wine is pronounced Guancachara, and it's a semi-sweet red wine. It's delicious. It's just going to break your fucking tongue pronouncing it.
You just make up words on the spot, don't you?
Same with the soccer team.
Yeah, like
Can
Capatavia.
you
Like,
fact? Can you fact?
Capatavia. If you Googled it, it's not actually a fucking soccer team, dude.
Can you fact check me? I don't know.
It's like a cheese.
I would fact check you, but I don't have any of those letters on my keyboard.
And Kyle, what are you partaking in this evening, sir?
Same as Alex. I'm drinking a Jack and Coke. A, because fuck yeah, Motorhead, and B, because it's fucking Monday and I already want to die.
Fuck yeah, Motorhead. That's what I want to take away. Before we talk one thing of soccer, that's all I want to take away from this episode is fuck yeah, Motorhead.
Motorhead.
That's the title.
The Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades.
Don't forget Lemmy writing Ozzy's love song to his wife.
Oof. There were rumors that his blood could cure cancer. He was just so selfish. No.
I'm pretty sure if somebody would have received his blood in a blood transfusion, they would have died within 5 minutes.
From like alcohol poisoning.
Immediately.
And
one of my favorite memories when I was in LA was getting to drink at the same bar, the Rainbow Bar, where Lemmy would always hang out. So that was fun.
I went to the same place. It's the first thing I had to do.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. What I am drinking this evening, me and the missus took a trip down to Bedminster, New Jersey. Yeah, Bedminster. What a name.
So you were going to Trump's golf course? I didn't figure you were a golfer.
Funny enough, well, one, I do play golf. You all just don't know. That's number one. Number two, yeah,
I always knew you were a Trumper.
funny thing enough, I was actually looking up for things to do after we were done at this one place, and literally the only thing that they advertise in Bedminster is Trump's golf course. And I'm just sitting here like, no, I'm going to go home.
Better use of your time.
Burnt Mills Cider.
And money.
Yeah, well, Burnt Mills Cider Company. They make completely like organic hard ciders and stuff like that, and they like actually use a lot of like turmeric and ginger, and it was honestly, it's an absolutely awesome place. If you're, they do a whole outdoor thing. It's really, really nice. A lot of fire pits. Guys who listen to this podcast, take your significant other there. It's a good time. Trust me.
Or go alone. Matt's not judging your life.
No, not at all. You drink a lot, dude.
I can go drink alone?
Thanks.
Yeah.
I was waiting for your permission.
So, guys, that's at least the beer discussion of this podcast. I think we're going to do more alcohol discussing in the near future, but we'll save that for a different time. Boys and girls, we had some big news around the MLS. We're going to go with the negative, then the positive, and then to the negative. The negative is going to be all the positive cases of COVID between LAFC, San Jose, Kansas City, and Minnesota, who all had games this previous week canceled due to spikes in COVID cases. The LAFC versus San Jose game was postponed and will hopefully be rescheduled to a later date. The Kansas City versus Minnesota, the game, though, has been completely canceled as the MLS has now gone to a points per game system before going into the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, boys and girls, there's a lot of teams that have clinched their ticket. They've gotten that golden ticket from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, and no Augustus Gloop. There's no Fudge Lake to get drowned in. Yeah, that's right. That kid died. I don't care what fairy tale you're living in. That kid died in that chocolate.
One girl turned into a blueberry. If she didn't die, I'd be shocked. There's no coming back from that.
They shrunk a kid down to a teeny tiny TV size.
Willy Wonka's a fucking sociopath.
There's
That's the real story.
violations everywhere.
He kidnapped a group of small people and just forced them to do things.
Come with me and you'll see a world of OSHA violations.
Wow. He went there.
I did. In the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Union, Toronto FC, the Columbus Crew, Orlando City, NYCFC, Nashville. Yes, that's right, boys and girls. The new kids in town made it to the playoffs. Red Bull New York for the 11th straight season, and New England is the newest team to get into the playoffs. 2 spots remain open as we only have a game or 2 left in the season. Now to the West, Seattle for a 12th straight year will be in the playoffs, followed by Kansas City, Portland, Minnesota, LAFC, and Dallas. And as well, there are 2 spots remaining. Those decision day games are going to be definite must-see TV. Now, unfortunately, with teams clinching the playoffs, there are teams that are now mathematically out. Cincinnati, Houston, and RSL. Thank you for playing. It was fun. Have a great
We'll see you
offseason.
next year.
Do we really want to see Cincinnati next year? No, we're not getting into that. No, I'm sorry.
No, we do. That was like our one legit win this year. In the beginning of the season.
Now, guys, we've talked the good, the bad, the ugly, and what we are drinking. Now, before we get to all that beautiful MLS action, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, we have a wonderful interview with our very good friend, Tim Camarage from Top Bins Talk. Guys, that interview is going to start right now. Okay, guys, now for our very special guest, a very good friend of mine and a very good friend of the podcast. You can actually catch him on his podcast, Top Bins Talk, one of my personal favorites. They discuss everything all across the world, everything soccer related, all the way down to training, strategy, tactics, also down to the latest boot fashion, which for me, who knows nothing about it, is definitely something you want to know. Post and Pints would like to welcome Tim Camarage to the show. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's a pleasure as always. Big fan of the podcast and can't wait to dive in.
Perfect.
As we are a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
I was about to say, before we start, if you want to hand out your socials so everyone knows where they can find you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm always available on Twitter at FootyCuji. Big presence in the Roma community, but I say big presence. I think I have like maybe 300 followers, so I'm very not humble as a person, I guess.
You have more followers than there are people that are hopeful about Roma. So.
Oh man, I'm hopping off now. You could also catch me obviously on Top Ends Talk. If you're looking for us on Instagram, we're just at Top Ends Talk. If you're looking for us on Twitter, we're at Top Ends Talk _. I'm always looking, for new questions, new people to subscribe, and that's where you could find me.
Awesome. That is awesome. But like Kyle and myself said, give them a listen. You will not regret it. It is top stuff. Cheesy dad jokes. Cheesy dad jokes. If you listen to Top Bins Talk, Tim is full of them. And
cheesy dad jokes are the best part of anything.
I mean,
you're
gonna
Kyle
love
need to hang out. Yeah. That's all it sounds like. Kyle is a book of walking dad jokes.
Oh, I'm Chief Gil. If Marcin was on the show with me, Marcin's my co-host. For anybody listening that hasn't given a chance to listen to our podcast, all Marcin does is call me out on the dad jokes, and rightfully so, because if he doesn't keep me in check, our podcast will just flow out of proportion. It would just be awful.
That is wonderful. Alex, you are actually going to start our questions to say. So, Alex, go ahead.
Sir. So let's get right into this. So, Tim, with your long history of playing and being involved in soccer, what made you want to start coaching?
Yeah, sure. So for those who don't know who I am, which would be most people, considering I'm not famous, anybody who doesn't know who I am,
anybody who isn't watching him in the bathroom at night.
So yeah, I did play in college. I had a couple semi-pro tryouts. Just didn't really work out for me, but I always had a passion for the game. I always, I've noticed stateside specifically, it was just kind of a sport people enrolled their kids in when they were younger. And that really wasn't what it was for me. I'm a first generation American, and my family's really big into the sport. So when it came down to coaching, for me, it was less about kind of having a gig and doing anything football related, but soccer related. But at the same time, it was more so sharing the passion that I had for the sport with a younger generation, because there's just so much that it gives back to you, that the idea of giving it to a kid and just saying, hey, this isn't just something that you're going to do, when you're a little kid trying out sports. This is something that you can get into. There's a fan base, there's, a family into it. So definitely for the passion, definitely for spreading it all around for it.
That is perfect. And I'm telling you right now, I've had the wonderful opportunity of playing with Tim, and Tim, I'm telling you right now.
Did he make you look like Aaron Long?
He does make me look like Aaron Long.
Ouch.
Not good Aaron Long.
Well, no, better joke.
Just walks off the pitch and he has like a mullet somehow.
So, better joke.
No, sorry, he's Tim Parker.
Here.
Matt's just adjusting his headband and not paying attention to what's going on.
Tim makes me look, at least defensively, Tim makes me look like the Portland Timbers are always in the 90th minute.
Oh, geez.
Ow. I felt that. That sucks.
Oh, man.
All vibes, no defense. Now, Kyle, you were sharing you were sharing some banter with Tim, and I feel there is an Italian themed question coming.
So I don't know if I've actually talked about it in 41 episodes or not. I know we did once, but it got cut because we're dumb and our eyes are bigger than our accounts. I am a supporter of AS Roma, unfortunately.
Why?
Or fortunately, depending on your view.
There you go.
So with you being a fellow Roma supporter, as I can tell by that wonderful thing behind you.
Oh, that little thing? No big deal.
How are you feeling this year with AS Roma? How did you become an AS Roma supporter? And what are you thinking of the new ownership so far?
Okay, so just to kind of take those in stride, how I'm feeling about this year so far. First of all, aside from the fact that we decided that, Diawara was, 22 years old and not 23 years old, for anybody who isn't on the up and up about that, Roma got a draw on the first game of the season. And as it turned out, they completely botched his registration. He's a midfielder for the club. And because of that, It cost us all 3 points. I should say it cost us an additional point. But anyways, point being is that was a pretty rough start to the season. And that didn't give me a whole lot of confidence. But what did give me a lot of confidence was that the ownership actually came out and took, I guess, ownership of it. And they said, this is something that's unacceptable, and we're a big club, and this shouldn't be happening to us. We shouldn't be dropping points because of this. And that was something that the previous owner really wasn't doing. So for me, that gave me a little bit of confidence. And then after that, we picked up Pedro for on a free, I believe, from formerly of Chelsea. Obviously, we retained Zeko's services, which I thought was massive. And of course, we had Mkhitaryan, who his deal was a little weird with Arsenal. I think it was either that we got him on a free or Arsenal agreed to mutually terminate part of his contract. But the point is that
I think it was the right move. I don't know what Arsenal would have gained from actually keeping him.
Yeah. You should tell Manchester United that with the whole Chris Smalling saga.
Way to drag it on for more money, Matt Sy.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's my fault. I want everyone to know in the soccer world, Ed Woodward calls me and asks me if the deal should be done or not.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's your fault Pogba's still on your team?
It's my fault Pogba's still here. It's my fault Jadon Sancho's not in the building. It's my fault Erling Haaland wasn't bought for $30 million. Yeah, all on me. My personal email.
Wow, you're shitty.
Well, look, before I go any further with Roma, I catch some flack on this, multiple times anytime I talk about it, but I could talk for days about Pogba, and most of it would not be negative, and I got to just throw that out there right now. But, aside from that, going back to the first question, I have hope. I don't think we're going to be making any Scudetto challenges. I really just think that realistically we could push for the 4th place spot this year. I think it's realistic. And I think Fonseca is getting his opportunity to get that team to gel. A lot of people aren't realizing, for a coach who very seldom used the back 3 system when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, he's gotten the team to go into a real, consistent system, and he's not been given a lot to work with, but what he's got, he's made work excellent, which is why when Allegri was being linked at the beginning of the season, I just couldn't fathom why, because it just didn't make any sense to me. So I'm glad to see both Fonseca and Dzeko still at the club. To answer the question about how I became a Roma fan, it was actually kind of a crapshoot because like I said, I was first generation here. My mom's not actually Italian, but my mom was actually born on the way to America. Funny little story. I don't know if people who are listening to this are aware, most countries do what's called green card lotteries. And a green card lottery is essentially, it's a shot in the dark that you get a visa to the US, or rather you get a green card to the US, and you have a certain time limit that you can get to the US. And if you don't get to the US within that time limit, they say, tough luck, we're going to give it to somebody else. So my grandparents ended up getting that, winning that green card lottery for that green card. And my grandmother was pregnant at the time. They take a flight over to the US. They had a connecting flight at Rome. My grandmother's had my mom at Rome. So, very cool birth certificate compared to mine from the Bronx. That was on 90s copyright paper, or,
better than my boring green piece of paper from New Brunswick.
Yeah. Yeah. So something interesting about gold on a piece of paper. And I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. So basically I was either going to be a Roma fan or a Lazio fan, and that's the way that it boiled down.
You made the right choice.
Yeah, I think so too. So, at the time that I was deciding, obviously Totti was still absolutely displaying magic, legendary wizardry that he has in his career. But there was actually another, and I don't have his jersey up, ironically, but Daniele De Rossi, his grit and his passion for the club was just infectious for anybody that saw him on the field.
Absolutely.
And I was not an exception to that rule. I saw his passion for it and just club of legends. So that's what drew me in to be a Roma fan for that reason. And then the last question, how do I feel about the new ownership, is, I think they've done for somebody who's bought a club during the pandemic, I think they're doing a pretty good job. They've been at most of the games. They've got a presence. They're being vocal in the media after the deal's been done. I was a little weary because for those who don't know, they do not have any history in football. So, and in soccer, they don't have any history in it. So for them to buy a club just on kind of what seemed like a whim was a little weird. But I think they've made the right moves. They let a couple people go that I think should have been let go internally at the club. And I'm just kind of curious where they'll go first. So it's shades of optimism, which is very hard for a Roma fan.
Oh yeah, I have a few responses. The first one,
Okay.
I'll get the one where I'm dead serious out of the way. If the
Okay.
green card lottery is the thing that let Dre into the country, we should just do away with it. It's just maybe not a good idea.
It's fun, it's funny enough.
boy.
It was my mother's parents from Greece who were a part of that lottery. So it's
There you go.
really
Number
Like-
two,
Boy.
I feel like I know you're big on Twitter with AS Roma. If you scroll through Roma Twitter, people are not that confident and people are kind of getting mad over
Yeah.
everything, like the potential Dzeko move. I honestly think that the ownership, maybe I'm like the minority, but I think that the ownership has done a really good job of cutting the dead weight where you're spending too much money, the stupid transfers that have been endless for Roma. And I think they're like, we're in a good spot to move forward.
Yeah, a lot of people that are being negative on Twitter, like to romanticize the idea of if it's not working, bring something else in. And just because you bring something else in the game doesn't mean that that's also going to work out, and that's what a lot of people forget is that look at what Inter did. Inter brought in Conte, and Conte.
Inter bought in Manchester United. Let's just say it.
But Conte he's a guy's been a serial winner throughout his career. He made Italy into a presence in I believe, what was it, the last Euros when he had Giaccherini playing like out of his skin. It made no sense. You take a guy like that and you put him in that club and you expect them to succeed. I thought they were going to win last year and they didn't because, just because you bring something new in, which, who did he take out? Of course, he took out Luciano Spalletti, who was, one of the bigger names in Italian soccer. But the point that I'm making here is that a lot of fans, not just for Roma, I would say anybody that's listening right now knows the sect of people that romanticize that if we just bring somebody else in, they're going to make all the problems go away. And like you just said, the problems are not all on the pitch. The problems are financially stricken as a club over stupid moves that we've made for players who just have underdelivered for us. And I'm very, I think what they've done so far has been in a good way. I guess is the way that I would throw it out there.
We can move on now. We can tune in next week for me, Matt, and Tim talking about AS Roma and taking shots and crying.
Ooh, I'll
Fair
get
enough.
my special vodka for that.
There you go.
Dre, you have a very interesting question for Tim.
Yes, I do. So for those of you who haven't listened to Top Ends Talk already, you guys might not know that Tim and Marcin, his co-host, are very big on boots and boot culture and all that kind of stuff, something that I don't know very much about. So my question to you is kind of how did you get into the boot culture, soccer boot culture, and what are some of your like favorite personal boots and why?
Okay, so getting into boot culture, actually kind of funny, small funny story, a little sad story, but my first pair of cleats were a pair of hand-me-down cleats from my uncle who played all the time, and they were a pair of Tiempos, and they were a size, like a full size and a half too big for me. Like I could have fit my whole fist in the front of the shoe and still had
Right.
room to wiggle my toes. Like it was nice of him to give them to me, but definitely not what I needed. And then, I was always working from a very young age. So I went out and I bought my own pair of boots. And, the first time I bought my own pair of boots, I was like, oh, these are great. Like they actually fit me. I feel comfortable in them. Like I feel better. I play better kind of thing. And that kind of is what got me into that was I didn't have a ton of money as a kid. So when I got older and I had the opportunity to actually buy my own top quality boots, I wanted to because I was playing at a higher level and I was so excited about it. And that was part of it. It was kind of a little mindset thing for me where I was saying, okay, if I'm going to play at a high level, I need a high level boot. And that was what I needed that, and
it sounds like it's a goal that you were like working towards kind of. So that's good.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I was, don't get me wrong. I was not in the way of like an Andres Iniesta where his dad had to work like 3 different jobs to get him a pair of boots. Like I was not in that like tax bracket. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not trying to pretend like I was, a rags to riches kind of thing. But definitely as far as boots go, it was just something that, yeah, you're right. I was kind of working towards and I wanted to look good on the pitch, feel good on the pitch. And so that kind of leads me to answer your next question, which is after I got to a certain level of playing, I realized that the boots really don't make you as a player. You have to have the skill set and put the effort in. And, as far as, information, what are my favorite boots right now? I grabbed a pair just to show to you guys real quick. I do have a pair here of Superflies. So I am a big Superfly fan right now. And big reason is I'm a big fan of the sole plate. I think it's like aggressive, reactive. For those who are thinking about buying expensive boots, just know that you're going to be a victim of marketing because and I'll actually ask you guys, because you probably remember this, back in, I think it was like the 2012, what was that? The 2012 Euros, where Nike started releasing cleats and they said, oh, you're going to have the Mercurial for speed if you're a fast player. Yes. You're going to have the Tiempo for control. Yep. And the Magistry boot is for, the Magistry boot is for like if you're a midfielder, and they like kind of typecasted cleats in that, right? And that was like their thing. They were like, oh, well, if you're this, you wear this. If you're this, you wear this. If you're this, you wear this. Genius marketing, right? Because now if you're a kid, if you're like a 13, 14-year-old kid, and you don't know anything about cleats, and you walk into a store, the first thing that goes in your head is, I play forward, so I need to wear a pair of Mercurials, right? Meanwhile, Steven Jovetic was ripping up, God knows how many defenses wearing Tiempos for his whole career. The point that I'm making here is that if there's one takeaway that I have from it is, yes, I do like the Mercurials because I like a little bit more of a flashy cleat. I like a little more speed out of them, but it's all what you like, and that's what I think that's what the takeaway should be for any younger listeners. Don't be a victim to marketing. Try every boot out that you want to try out, and you might find that actually I have them here. These are Puma King Pros. They're the takedown model of the Puma King Platinum. These are a better boot than the top end one. It doesn't, don't be a victim to marketing. These are more comfortable, better on the ball. Try it out and see what you like.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take on it for sure. Definitely, I feel like everyone's been a victim of marketing at one point or another. And the one example that comes to mind to me is, I think I'm remembering the correct player, but doesn't Toni Kroos play in the same boots he's had for like 15 years? Like every game he plays for Real Madrid, he wears 10, 15-year-old boots. And, they're torn up, they're old, they're raggedy, but that's what he likes. That's what works for him. And, it works for him.
Yeah, and for any younger players that are listening right now, Toni Kroos also cleans his own boots. And if you don't clean your boots and you don't take care of your boots, you don't deserve them. You have to take care of your stuff as you're a player, and that's something that I, instill in my young players because it's a little bit of responsibility. Don't show up to game day with dirty boots for my team.
Hey, it's a good motto to have. So, Tim, I'm going to end the questions, but I actually have 2 rounds of questions for you. The first one is now me. I've been someone, I know you, I know Marcin from our years of playing soccer together. So when you guys came up with a podcast, I was like, I got to be all about this. Being a listener since day one of your podcast, what is one of your best memories on your podcast? Or, what may have been one of your favorite guests you might have had?
All right. So favorite memory of podcast has definitely got to be, I think it was one of the last general discussion episodes. And the reason I say this memory isn't tied to a specific episode that we just did is because I believe it was the last general discussion one. I listened through it in its entirety. I listen to all our episodes because, it's like reviewing tape, right? Like it's something you got to do.
Exactly what I say.
So I listened to the entire thing and I'm just like, man, we totally killed that. Like we nailed it. Like that was awesome. And my favorite memory is that I went back and I listened to our first episode after listening to that one. And I was like, whoa, we came like so far. Our first episode was trash. What were we doing?
Yeah. Okay, it only took us 40 episodes to get it right.
I was just about to say I don't even want to listen to some of our first, we have a couple episodes where we started an interview and it just turned into like a drunken mess for 3 hours. And then we're just now we're staying around an hour and we're just like, oh my God, we sound a lifetime better.
Well, I don't know what you expect when you let Alex drink bottles of Jameson all night and then ask questions.
Not the Jameson's fault,
it was in my contract. I was just doing what I was told.
You let him put that in his contract? Wow. What a
You
mistake.
guys have contracts?
You guys have ups.
You're getting paid.
So also, favorite guest is really hard because most of the guests that we've had on, ranging from Andrew, who's a boot reviewer, to Jay, who lives in Singapore, who's awesome, just all boot culture guy. To we even had Yvonne from I don't know if you guys are familiar with the brand Live Breathe Football, but they actually have some pretty heavy ties to the MLS, and and the fact that they started in the Philly area. But we had so many favorite, so many guests. Like I genuinely, I racked my brain on this one. I couldn't pick a favorite guest if I tried, because these guys just all brought something cool and dynamic to our show. So, and there are always people that we're shouting out when it comes to any of the episodes that we do, because that's the point of our, I know the point of your guys' podcast is MLS, and you guys do an excellent job of it. The point of our podcast is really just like football culture in general. You know what I mean? Like that's like the whole thing that we want to encapsulate, is that, it's evolved to so much more than being on the field. It's cleat culture, it's streetwear culture, it's all this cool stuff. And, if you just take a look, like you'll find so many interesting people in it. So I'm sorry, man, I racked my brain. I really couldn't come up with one specific person that I love that a lot.
Hey, that is the safe answer. And this podcast, we're all about safe answers. But like he said, you don't need to be someone who needs to know everything about football. The culture
You don't need to be
alone
Matt.
that Marcin and Tim talk about is what is one of the many things that keeps me coming back to listening to them. They're doing an absolutely incredible job. Please go check them out. So again, overall, they're two great guys.
Appreciate it.
Tim, I'm going to steal something from you.
Oh, okay.
I did not send this to you because I wanted this to be a surprise, as you do with your guests at the end of their episodes.
All right.
Tim, we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. You have no idea. That just made my day. Oh my gosh. All right, let's do this.
You're so used to dishing it. Let's see you take it now.
Go for it.
So here we go. Favorite position on the field?
Center mid.
Your least favorite position on the field?
Oh, center back.
Your favorite number?
Ooh, 22.
Your current favorite player?
Ooh. Oh, you stumped me here. Frankie De Jong.
There you go. Your favorite all-time player? This one will be easy.
Oh, Daniele De Rossi.
There you go. As you ask everyone, Messi or Ronaldo?
Oh, I do ask everyone. I would have to go Messi.
There you go. You're going to upset Marcin on that answer,
That's
I think.
okay.
But
Yes.
now, being a Jersey guy,
Okay.
we have to ask everyone from the great state of New Jersey these questions, and this will determine.
You better think about your answer.
Pork
This
roll
friendship
or
is
a
fine.
Taylor ham?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna just squash this. I don't want to hear any other answers for this. Okay. Pork roll is the product. Taylor ham is a brand. That's it.
Nails it again.
Tim is allowed to come on
We're
as
still
this
friends.
podcast.
We're
as
still friends.
That's it.
He watches Serie A. He's not a Juventus fan. He calls it pork roll. It doesn't get better.
And last
man.
but not least, the biggest myth of them all: does Central New Jersey exist to you?
I knew that's what you were gonna say. As soon as you said myth, I was like, there we go. Central New Jersey exists. All right. That's it.
Hey,
There we
there
go.
you go.
Central
There
exists.
you go.
There's no way. I'm not like the South Jersey folks, and I don't live in Hoboken, so I have to have something.
There are no correct answers with that question except for that one.
Nice.
That was. It's almost like you were reading
was
off
it.
of a script. That was perfect. We're just gonna
I
take
wish
that.
I was.
We're just gonna take that. We're gonna put it on a T-shirt, and we're just gonna sell it. Tim, thank you so much for coming on Post and Pints. Before I send you off, one more time, let everyone know where they can find you.
Absolutely. And so you could always find me at FootyCuji on Twitter. So realize I didn't spell it out the last time, and that's not exactly an easy handle to grab. So just, FOOTYKUJI. And we're always on Twitter as well for Top Ends Talk at Top Ends Talk _. And we're on Instagram at Top Ends Talk. We're always happy to tack on new listeners. And thank you again for having me on. Couldn't state enough how much of a fan I am of what you guys do, and hope you keep up the great work.
Man, I'm blushing over
Thank
here,
you.
man. Come on. I didn't bring tissues with me, you know. Tim, thank you once again for coming on Post and Pints. We appreciate you so much for coming on. We appreciate the work you and Marcin do, educating people in what needs to be educated in the soccer world. More collabs to come. You're officially a good friend of the pod. You are definitely coming back on a future episode. And like I said, Tim, thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back to the back end of our Post and Pints episode. Hopefully you enjoyed that wonderful interview we had with Tim. Kyle has a new best friend, and he's trying a way to find out how to tell Alex that he's number 2 on his power rankings, but that's going to be a conversation for after.
I'm actually trying to figure out which one of the 3 of you I have to kill to turn this into a Roma podcast and just have him on instead.
I appreciate.
I don't really talk too much.
Are you thinking of a way to break the news to Matt that you're leaving this to join Top Pints Talk?
No, if I'm leaving this, it's to do more of sit on the couch and drink.
Hey, you know what? We all got to make choices. But no, that interview was absolutely awesome. Tim is such an awesome guy. Like we said before during the interview, please go check out their stuff. We genuinely mean it. We're not showboating. We're not trying to just blow smoke up your ass. Top Pints Talk is got to be one of my favorite soccer podcasts for not only stuff going on the field, but everything off of it as well. Please go check them out. Give them love. They give us endless love. We want to give it right back. Those guys are awesome.
Speaking of least favorite podcast, maybe we should start talking about least favorite games ever.
Speaking of least favorite games ever. 2 teams from New York decided to take a trip and play on a baseball stadium. Dre, you want to lead us into this one?
Me? I don't know anything about baseball. You want me to talk about baseball? I don't know baseball things.
All I know is apparently there's this thing they stretch in the 7th inning and something about like 4 balls and I like walk.
There's popcorn? I don't know. Cracker Jacks? So anyway, speaking of Cracker Jacks, we did have a Hudson River Derby game, one that honestly I wish I can forget. But before we talk about in depth on that, all I got to say is the highlight of this game for me is Tim Parker dropping his headband a bunch of times and having to go look for it, because that kind of describes his game in a nutshell.
How is that the highlight? NYCFC popped off and your response is Tim Parker his headband fell over his eyes and he just walked around the field.
Fell on the ground. Anyway,
for a couple seconds, he was as blind as he looks on the field.
Now,
I wish
Kyle,
I could forget the score. Kyle, do you want to let us know what actually happened so I don't have to say it?
Absolutely. I'm gonna lead this off. Let's just give some background here. This game puts City at 5-0-1 at home against Red Bull New York, proving that only the Yankees can play baseball, I guess.
Can you stop? First of all, we haven't even said it out loud. The final score was 5-2. And, let's take our fandom to the side for a second and just
I was about to, if you'd let me finish.
Go ahead.
This marks the first blowout for City since the rivalry started, proving that while Red Bull Arena might be a place of despair for them, they own this rivalry when they play at home. We saw a bunch of highlights in this game. We saw Castellanos with the hat trick and the assist, but my personal favorite moment of the game was Alexander Ring from damn near center field.
I'm telling you right now, dude, this City team is, and I called it the other week when we have Andy on, it's only going to take 1 or 2 pieces for this NYCFC team to be clicking on all cylinders. And this, unfortunately, they decided to take it out on the boys in red. I want to just quickly dive into Red Bull. And this can't be as good as it gets. I really look at a team like this. Yeah, the last few weeks, it's been getting good. A lot of Red Bull fans were coming into this game with very high hopes because we've been on a good streak. We've been getting late goals. Our strikers are scoring. And then we play a good team. And I feel like this is exactly what happens when the Red Bull play good teams down the stretch. And what is it? I keep saying it, but am I wrong? It's just vibes, no game plan.
I mean, basically, especially when an entire city side finds the form that they wish they would have had when Maxi Morales was still out.
But like, and you know what? It's exactly like you said, though, dude. Maxi Morales was finding those spaces, and he was able to just do whatever he wanted. But yeah, it's a
this was the NYCFC team that, like, if you guys listen to episodes 1, 2, 3, or like the beginning ones, that I was worried about NYCFC being good.
This is the team we thought we'd see.
That I was worried about. And keep in mind, they still don't have a bear back. A bear's still out until next season. So that was that. And to talk about the Red Bull side of things, I mean, yeah, the fan base from our side has been getting a little bit hyped up because we did have a couple late winners in the last couple of games. Caden Clark showed up and has been doing Caden Clark things, even though he's kind of hasn't had any goals in the last couple of games, but he kind of injected that new energy into the team. So he gave the fan base a reason to be passionate. But then you have to really dig a little bit deeper than that and find out that, hey, Gerhard Struber's our coach, but he hasn't shown up to actually start coaching the team yet. It's still on Bradley Carnell, and we're still dealing with the fallout from Chris Armas. I've said this to all you guys before, but I'll say it on air here, and that is, this team right now is just experimenting. We're playing every possible player we can in whatever position we can play them in, so that when Gerhard Struber shows up and decides to start picking his starting 11, his lineups, his formations, he'll have all these last 10 games to look at.
Which is exactly what you should be doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think no matter how the season turns out, if the Red Bulls crash and burn in the first round, or if they go near all the way, whatever happens, Carnell deserves high praise for what he's done this season since he took over. He should definitely, in my opinion, be considered for the assistant coach job, like the direct assistant coach job under Gerhard Struber. Some people might be angry about, we're sitting on an international spot. You played like shit against City, blah, 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 blah. You didn't start this guy. You didn't start that guy. You're sitting on an international spot with a bunch of money saved in the last 2 years with a new coach waiting in the wings. It's the perfect spot you want to put him in. You want to let him build his team and not force this crap down his throat.
I'm just happy he's going to have a large body of information with which to make his decision, because you've had all the players play out there. You even bench Kaku for a couple of games and let Velo and Radzikowski and Stroud play. So he's going to have the full option.
I just hope he figures out a way to make the back four not look like 4 Helen Kellers standing in a row.
And you guys are exactly right. That NYCFC beatdown, that was a Bronx style beatdown for the boys in blue. But now we're off to another Eastern Conference heavy-hitting game. What could be a preview for the Eastern Conference Final. Columbus seems to be the kryptonite to Philly's superhuman season, in my opinion. For the third straight time, the Crew, the yellow submarine team, seems to be blowing holes in Philly's ship. I'm going to start this off with you, Kyle. You were the only one from our group who chose Columbus in this game. You've been choosing Columbus all year. What happened in this 2-1 victory?
Well, one of the biggest thing that happened in this 2-1 victory is Philly ordered fucking room service.
Oh, that's a good joke.
Isn't it, though?
That's a good fucking joke. That's a dad joke, which is all... That's a great dad joke and a great soccer joke. Now, can you explain that to those who didn't watch the game?
So, Columbus's goalie, one Mr. Room, could have let this game get away. Instead, he denied 2 of the most dangerous people on Philly's offense in Shabilko and Elliott to keep the Crew on top 2-1. In a game where you saw Kristen Namath come in his 3rd game played in a Crew uniform, just put the absolute pause on Philly's Shield celebration. Luis Diaz just played him an absolute perfect ball to the back post. You couldn't ask for any better. I can go on and on about Columbus, to be honest with you, but even as a guy that's praised Columbus for so long, I do have to ask, does this game go different if Andre Blake makes the start? Bendik has been clearly struggled in his first start. And should we be worried about the severity of Blake's head injury? Because if it's going to be any longer, are you worried?
And you're 100% correct. A little sneak peek into my team of the season. Andre Blake slots right into my goalie position. And I'm telling you right now, if Philadelphia Union don't have basically a sure thing between the posts, those are a massive red flags going into the playoffs. And, if they even think going into this Supporter Shield run with only a game or two left. Now, Dre, paint me a brighter picture for Philly, because it can't all be doom and gloom, right?
It's not all doom and gloom. This is the natural course of a football season. Hopefully what this game serves, and I think it will serve for Philadelphia, is a reminder not to get complacent, not to kind of just ride along and coast and in cruise control. Sometimes you're going to have to put the car in manual and figure something out and do it instead of just trying to cruise to a victory. Especially with a team like Columbus, they are one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. And while Philly, for a large part of the season, was head and shoulders above them, Columbus is knocking on their door, and Philly can't forget that, hey, it's not over till it's over. And I think this game will serve as that reminder. Philly didn't look horrible in the game. Jabilko had some nice opportunities, and I think if they learn from this game and move on, I think they're definitely a shoo-in for the Shield, and probably I think we could see them in the Eastern Conference Final. I don't think that would be unfair to say.
And it's exactly like you said. If this is our preview for the Eastern Conference Final, can we just fast forward there now?
I mean, we got a first half of absolute back and forth playoff caliber soccer from this game. If they play again, I'm fucking in.
I love it. I'm all about. I love it that you're already starting to see teams with that playoff. Like, you see some of it, like a game like this, and you've been seeing it now over the past few weeks with teams fighting for their playoff life. These are the games. Well, first of all, a little argument for everyone.
No.
The MLS, even though in a COVID year, this has to be one of the better MLS seasons I've seen. There's at least 4 bangers a week. Certain players are playing off of their head. COVID, no COVID. This has been a very good year.
I absolutely agree.
This has definitely been a great year as a MLS fan. Like, there's no fans in the stands, but the games are goddamn entertaining. You really can't deny that.
I mean, the games are entertaining, but I would argue from a certain standpoint that I'm not going to go into the whole Shield thing. It's been a shitstorm. I don't really want comments on it. Your opinions on whether or not the Shield should be awarded is one thing or another. I'm just going to preface with that before I say this. You have a lot of games getting canceled, not being made up. You're going by points per game. It only means so much. I mean, I'm really glad that the soccer's been entertaining and we've seen as good of a year as we have, but at the end of the day, it only means so much. So we just heard about the Columbus Crew doing bad things to Philadelphia this time at Mapfre Stadium. So now we move on to Toronto FC, able to capitalize on Philly's bad luck with an absolute thriller against a struggling Inter Miami to claw their way back into Supporter Shield contention. Was it a great game, or did somebody get robbed?
I think.
Oh, go ahead, Dre.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Go ahead, Dre.
I think that in this game, Akinola just shined. I mean, he had that beautiful goal. He's on a streak right now. He's had 3 goals in 5 games. He is just doing hot on a Toronto team that, in general, up until a couple weeks ago, was also a contender for a potential Shield and could be in the conversation for one of the better teams in the East. So they definitely showed that in this game. And like I said, Akinola, he gets the shout for this game because he got it done for him. Blaise Matuidi did have a cool goal for Inter, so good for them. But at the end of the day, couldn't get it done. Plus, you had that Higuain right into the post. Sorry, bud.
I don't want to tell you you're wrong.
But here we go.
But like a wise man on Twitter once said, Fabrizio Romano, this one's for you. Here we go. Miami was fucking robbed. Don't give me this goddamn bullshit about how Toronto deserved 3 points. Toronto barely deserved to get off the bus in this game. Toronto was
Here,
Toronto. No, you're gonna let me finish. Toronto was
I will.
outplayed for all 90 minutes. Miami deserved not 1 point; they deserved all 3 points in this game. They were the better team from top to bottom. Outside of a beautiful goal from Anelka, you are 100% correct. I'm very happy to see Matuidi get on the score sheet for the first time in his MLS career. But this is absolutely heartbreaking for a Miami team that could have seen their way into the playoffs with a win here. And now they have to go all the way down to decision day against Cincinnati. And I'm not taking anything away from Cincinnati, but they should win that game. But overall, they just couldn't finish on the chances that they were given. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. You are 100% correct. That Higuain goal, what should have been a goal, he missed it. And if that went in, it would have just been beautiful. But what a heartbreaking way to decide a game if you're an MLS ref. I've been pretty good on the MLS refs this year, but that has to be one of the weaker PK calls I've seen. His back is to goal. He's getting boxed out. He goes down on first touch, makes it seem like he got shot in the back, and the ref gives the foul and doesn't check anything.
Here's my point on that. Is a soft foul still not a foul? And if it's in the box, you can't not call that.
Oh, Dre, we've watched enough soccer between the two of us to know that the refs don't call soft fouls in the box. You know that. And in the 83rd minute of a 1-1 game, you have the audacity to pull the trigger on a penalty. I'm not again.
Especially coming from a league where you constantly see people manhandled in the box and just nothing.
Do you think it would survive VAR review? If it was VAR review, do you think it would survive that?
No, I don't. No, I do not, because he went down on his back was to goal. It was a very weak touch in the back. He was going nowhere. He was surrounded by defenders. He went down because he just screw it. Let me see if I can get a penalty here. And gosh darn it, he fucking put his ticket into the lottery machine and he fucking cashed out.
Are we talking about that same lottery that got Dre here?
Ugh. Hey, that lottery got me here technically, just on a longer
wow
chain effect. But
what a shitty
it's like
fucking
almost
system.
like everyone's an immigrant in this country.
But you know what's really encouraging with this game is Miami looks hungry. You're watching this game and you watch it for the full 90 and you look at this Miami team. They're not just relying on Higuain and Matuidi. This team is actually hungry to want to do things. And it would break my heart to not see them in the playoffs because, in my opinion, with this late push that they've done, they deserve a spot. But overall, this is extremely encouraging for David Beckham and the rest of Miami. This is a game that shows that, you know what? Miami's going to be in it for the future. And honestly, love to see it because you see teams like Nashville and Miami, expansion teams coming in and causing trouble like this. A lot better than teams like Cincinnati. I hate to keep bringing up Cincinnati, but how bad does Cincinnati feel right now that all the new expansion teams in the MLS are doing good things and you're still last place?
It's almost like they're still fielding a USL roster with barely any changes to it. Weird.
All right, guys, we are good for the MLS action this week. Definitely going to be covering a lot more over the next week. Our next episode, we are going to be discussing, and hopefully with another guest. I believe I have something lined up, but I might not be telling you people. Line up, we are going to have our playoff preview episode. So by the next time you hear us, Decision Day will have already happened. And we will be discussing every playoff game and breaking down who we think is going to win, who we think is going to go home. And I think some team of the season talk might be in order. So that's all going to be on our next episode. So be ready for that. But as always, we finish with a few fun little things that keep us going. Not all soccer related. Boys and girls, we are at the part of the episode with what is pissing you off? And I'm going to tap on the top of my screen. Alejandro, I see you up there. How are things behind the scenes?
Things are going well.
Can I take a guess about what your segment's going to be about? Because I feel like I might have been there for it.
Go for it.
Does it have to do with a certain trip in the rain to a certain location?
So what fucking happened was, let me tell you. No, nothing too crazy. This weekend I was supposed to go on a little fishing trip with the boys, and I bought this brand new surf reel. And we drove about an hour and a half out. We were going night fishing from like 12 to like 4 o'clock in the morning. We got to where we needed to get, walked about 30, 40 minutes to the place, and about the third cast out, my brand new reel broke. And yeah, so I basically admitted defeat that night, but luckily / unluckily, everyone else in my party also had rod and reel problems. So about an hour in, we decided to say, fuck this, go home. And we got drunk until about 4 o'clock in the morning. But long story short, always buy protection plans.
Always. Well, first of all,
Always buy protection plans.
So I know Dre and myself used to work at a retail store where we had to wear blue polos. That's going to be the extent of that. When we tell you to buy the damn protection plan, we're not making money off of it. Just buy it so that you don't come in a week later and go, hey, it broke. What can I do? Well, you can buy another one because you didn't get a protection plan.
Yep. So I learned. No, luckily they're very cool. They let me return what I had to return. I got a new one, but still it was like, what the fuck?
And we shall be going down the list. Mr. Dre over there, what's annoying you this week?
What's annoying me this week? I mean, it's a whole host of things, but without getting too political, we're gonna have some riots the next couple of days, regardless of which side wins. Man, there's gonna be some chaos in the streets, so be ready for it and stay safe, because literally, regardless of who the hell
Civil
wins this
War is
election,
coming.
there's gonna be some chaos. So try to remain calm and wait till every vote is counted, because they all matter.
See, I just think of times like this, and I think of Jackie Moon from Tropic Thunder. No, not Tropic Thunder. Semi-Pro. That's the name of the movie. Everybody love everybody. Everybody love everybody. Damn it. Don't make me come back there. Kyle, what is agitating the back of your skull today?
The main thing that's pissing me off is I can't wait to probably get sick this week and everybody think I have COVID and I have to explain off that I don't have COVID and all that shit. Because, let's just start off Monday at fucking 40 degrees and then end at 70 on Saturday. I can't wait to be outside and sick during that shit.
Yeah, no, they've made it very clear. Like, when I have to travel from account to account, I basically live off radio. And it's like everyone is just like the people who are not going to be able to go to work because they have like the sniffles or seasonal allergies and stuff like that. People are just going to automatically jump to worst case scenario, and that's going to just be an absolute shitstorm.
Almost as big of a shitstorm as tomorrow.
We record on Mondays, and apparently tomorrow I'm supposed to be voting for someone. What's pissing me off, and Drake, can you in the background
Kanye
of
2020.
Me, yo, stop. I just
Shut
listened
up.
to that.
Don't
Kanye
even
2020.
do that. Don't even do that.
Kanye 2020. People.
I'll kill you.
I just
Write it
listened
in.
to that Joe Rogan
I'm completely
episode.
fucking kidding. But yeah, dude, Joe Rogan, that was such a shit show of an episode.
Dude, like, I think it's the first time ever Joe Rogan only talked like 10% of the whole podcast. Like, Joe Rogan.
No, he couldn't get a single word in.
Do you know what the best part was? Kanye West doesn't talk. He has symphonies.
Oh, yes. Everything that
is
comes out
all.
of it.
Is
So-
a
I
symphony.
hate you.
So, Dre, I'm going to need you to do a solid. This is still recording. Don't stop anything. But now, as I'm talking, I want you to put like Christmas bell music behind what I'm saying, like in the background. Thank you. I appreciate that. So you might as well call me Grinch. Unpopular opinion. Just because Halloween is over does not mean you could start putting up your Christmas shit, boys and girls. That's right. This is another Christmas rant. You must let the turkey digest in your stomach before you even hint about putting up the goddamn tree. And the fact that I'm already hearing Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas on November 1st, okay? You know what all I want for Christmas? I want
Yeah,
Mariah Carey.
I shouldn't want to murder Mariah Carey before fucking November 2nd even starts.
I shouldn't even be hearing Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas until like December 10th. 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks of shoving Christmas down my throat.
I'm a bigger Grinch than you. I'd say the 24th. You get 2 days. Christmas Eve and Christmas. Otherwise, don't fucking bother me.
Can we just say that it's been long enough that this song's been in existence? Can some fucking famous person, because we know we have a lot of famous people that listen to our podcast, because one of you guys just make a new Christmas song?
I think
See,
Guar is going to be the next big
one.
Christmas carol.
See, you think that
Kanye, I know you're listening, my boy. Write us a new Christmas jingle. Come on.
He's too busy running for president in 2024.
Nah.
He says he's definitely going to win, so you know.
Yeah,
it's Jesus. Jesus is going to win it for him.
And I am definitely going to off myself.
Who's his vice president? Who would be his VP?
God.
Would it be his pastor?
You know,
I think it would be his pastor.
That's not like a separation of church and state issue, and God is literally your vice president.
No. All right, boys and girls, I am loading up the Prius. I'm putting on my hipster boots, my hipster jeans, and my hipster jean jacket, and I'm heading down to the farmer's market. I roll up, and there's this guy named Trey. There's this guy named Trey, and he's delivering me fresh goods that I can only get at this farmer's market. Trey, what's going on at the farmer's market this week?
All right. This week in the farmer's market, we are a few steps closer to the end of the travel sagas of Freddie Adu. Getting pretty close here. So last week when we left off, he went through 3 unsuccessful trials at 3 random teams, none of which would give him a contract. And this is in 2014.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. After those 3 trials, he somehow, tickle me pink, I don't know how, he lands a contract for a team in Serbia called Jagodina. So he lands a contract there, literally plays 1 professional game for them in September, and he's released from a 1.5 year long contract in December. Yep, literally like 3 months, 4 months, plays 1 game on a 1.5 year contract. Sorry, you're out. That was December of 2014. 2015, this is where I alluded to last year. He goes to the cold weather country. He joins a team called KUPS in March. This is a team in Finland, in the 9th most populated city in Finland. I don't even know Finland has that many cities.
What is it? What was it say? What is that? Like 14 people? Like
yeah, it's and 2 reindeer. So yeah, he gets a contract with KUPS starting in March, plays 5 games, and then by midsummer, he actually voluntarily terminates his own contract because I imagine after playing in Portugal.
When you were so shit, not even you want to pay you.
I was about to say, how shit must you be when you feel bad for the team paying you? Like, you know what? I'm just taking your money at this point. Like,
Yeah, he's like, and I'm out, and he's out. So that is where we leave off this week. Next week sees Freddie Adu's 3rd return to the United States. So stay tuned.
Like, is the conclusion soon? Like, can we see?
I mean, there's actually there's some 2020 updates for the very last episode of the Ballad of Freddie Adu. Kind of arise from the dead. Yeah, for now, that's where we're at.
Oh my God, I feel so I feel bad. Like I don't, but I do.
And for those of you who want to know about Karpaty Lviv, they are currently 1-1-5 in the
Holy
third
shit,
division.
They won a game.
Ukrainian
Holy
soccer.
shit, they won a game.
So what? They're like 1-1-5 in like 2 games.
Oh, good God, I'm not happy.
So speaking of not being happy, none of us can actually say that because I believe this week we all had pretty banging weeks in the picks challenge. Kyle, you wanna break down our picks challenge? We also need to come up with like a punishment or like for the next episode. We're gonna figure out what the loser must do or something like that because we're getting down to like.
So we're gonna figure out what Justin's gonna have to do.
Exactly.
I was about to say I don't want to remind people, but
Yeah, Justin's
Justin's
in
Talk
definitely
shit
he's
about
the
an
only one.
ex Post and Pints member who
He's the only one below
bitched
100.
out on a challenge. Justin, I know you're not listening, but you's a bitch.
I think no, he still listens, but I'm talking like what?
And
So what do
Justin,
you
you
guys think?
still a bitch.
So what do you guys think? He's got to buy us all a nice steak dinner and a really expensive bottle of wine.
I only accept porterhouse steaks.
Even better.
Porterhouse
I think the punishment should be he has to opt in 2021.
Oh,
I'm barely opting in 2021. Kyle, what's the points breakdown here?
So this week we had Matt, Dre, and myself with 15 points. Then Alex, like the dickhead he is, with 16 points.
What's up, baby?
So
I'm not
that
even
puts
gonna
the
tell you about
season
the season
totals
stuff.
at myself rounding out the bottom, like fucking always, with 118 points. Matt with 120 points, still right above me. Dre with 121 points, and Alex up top with 124 points. God damn it.
Right now, like at this point, you almost have to like look at the picks challenge and you have to pick the underdog in some of them because you're sitting here like if you're trying to make a points gap move, you got to start picking against what everyone else is going to pick. But
I made some controversial picks this week in my own opinion, so we'll see where we go.
I think this week will be the final week that determines because I think once the playoffs start, I think those picks are going to start becoming a little bit like, everyone's going to kind of lean one way and there's not enough games to kind of really sway one way or the other. Now we're at the end of the episode. So Dre, where can they find us? Where can they listen to us? And what should they do after they listen to us?
So the good people on the internet can find us at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Discord, all at Post and Pints. The link to our Discord will be in the show notes. And please, after you listen to the episode, give us a 5-star review and tell a friend.
I think you could have said that any better yourself. But guys, we do have some fan questions this week, all from the Discord, which I, for some reason, am having a really tough time opening. The first question from the Discord, not soccer related. This is from Logan. He's from the EPL Boys podcast. Boys and girls, if one has to go, which one would you never eat again? Cake, cookies, pie, or ice cream? Anyone? I'll go first.
Yeah.
Cake.
All right, so cake is gone.
Fuck cake.
The wrong choice.
Dude, you can't get rid of cookies or ice cream.
I am lactose intolerant, so I'm just going to magically think none of these things have dairy in them. Unpopular opinion, boys and girls.
One has a lot more than other.
Well, no, you can get lactose-free ice cream.
It's actually not bad.
Is that really ice cream though?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's actually not bad at all.
You know what?
I'm
going to go with Alex. Cake. Sorry, it's been fun, bro, but you can't take pie away from my life.
You're
man.
both just the wrong choices. Here, I'm going to go through this just because Alex is going to get fucking angry when I do.
If you say cookie dog, I'm running downstairs and punching you in the dick.
No, I'm going to make you angry on my way to my answer. So you have cake. Obviously, there's tres leche. Why am I getting rid of cake? You're all dumb. Secondly,
that doesn't count, man.
Secondly, you have cookies. There's oatmeal raisin, right, Alex? Like, why would I drop cookies? So I'm going to have to go against Dean from Supernatural here. I'm dropping pie.
Oh,
how did you find someone? How did you find someone that lets you sleep with them?
Easy.
How?
Easy. She gives me all her oatmeal raisin cookies.
Like oatmeal raisin cookies, dude. You're not 90 years old. You don't need your stool to be soft in the morning. Eat a real fucking cookie, my guy.
Nope.
God damn.
Pie. Fuck, Kyle.
Yeah, how do you can't kill pie, my guy.
Drake,
Watch
just
Tres leche doesn't count as regular cake. That's not regular cake.
You
Right,
can't just not count it as cake because
you can drink it, okay? There's enough milk in a tres leche to put Matt in a coma.
it's a wok, a wet ass cake.
I'm not confident.
I think
Fucking
I'm gonna
A.
have to actually go with the popular consensus and also say cake because I like
Cute.
pie is just it's too versatile for me. You got all the different fruits in
Oh,
there.
the blueberries,
Cookies
the
are just
key limes, the
baller.
apple.
And then ice cream, you know, got the cold texture, so that's nice. And
Alex.
then, I mean, cake. Cake can
Alex.
go.
Alex,
What?
nothing's better than a nice hot pumpkin pie.
That's disgusting.
Well,
You're
That's
disgusting.
pretty close.
gross.
Pumpkin
But-
pie can go right with the cake.
It's gross. Screw pumpkin pie. Give me my oatmeal raisin cookies back.
Fuck off with your basic.
And
Can we just end this? I'm done with you guys. I'm done talking to you guys for one.
we got one more question, and it's actually
Oh
soccer.
my god! Why you should have ended it with this one? Now I'm just angry.
Soccer related, but this is actually a pretty good question. This is actually from DJ, also from the EPL Boys podcast. Those guys are awesome. Please go check them out. The question on Discord, which by the way, please get on Discord, talk MLS with us, and then also, you know, you get a little chance to see some maybe behind the scenes stuff. I don't know. But basically,
Kyle, take your shirt off.
guys, which MLS team do you believe would fight off relegation in the Premier League? And I actually had to think about this one long and hard because I'm thinking to myself, like, style of play, you know, the players that they have. I'm going to go first. The answer is Portland, and it's only Portland. Every other team in the MLS would get relegated. Reason why I'm saying Portland, don't shake your finger at me, Kyle. They're good on the counterattack. They're strong in the back. And when completely healthy, that team can steal games. Now, the whole question is they're just fighting off relegation. I think they'll still be 15th or 14th in the league, which means they'll be better than Manchester United. And I agree. Don't you look at me. I 100% think Portland could beat Manchester United right now. But yeah, my answer, Portland Timbers and only the Portland Timbers.
I'm going with the obvious
I will
answer.
agree with. Go ahead, Kyle.
I'm going to go with the obvious answer. The correct answer is Cincinnati. Because if you think they'd even make it that far, you're dumb. They can't get relegated in a league they're not in.
They'd end up in Scotland and they'd be like, we're here to play.
Scotland would
Stoke
kick
City."
them out. Go play with fucking Carpate.
That
Dre,
would
what
be
do
a
you,
game.
Dre, what are you thinking?
I actually was gonna say Portland as well, but I'm surprised you picked them for how much you shit on them 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I was gonna say Portland. Honestly, with the way Burnley's playing and West Brom is playing, there's like a couple teams in the MLS I think that could do better. And, Portland, Philadelphia could probably also make it. And I don't know, KC. But Portland and Philly, the two I would say, that can definitely stay above water.
And Alex, to finish it up, which team? Maybe not Portland.
Taking a shot here. Not really taking a shot, but if I had to choose one or two, I would either say with Dre Philly or honestly LAFC. They've been tight all season. They're very aggressive. They're very hard to overcome. I'm not sure how well they would actually do, but just choosing from what I've seen in the MLS, probably LAFC.
LAFC would be like Leeds United. All offense, no defense. All attack.
Office
Don't you
wins
talk
sometimes.
about Luke Ayling
Offense
like
wins
that.
it
Luke
sometimes.
Ayling is a good man.
Just sometimes.
All offense, no defense sounds like the current league leaders.
Oh, tough call.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's
There's a reason
the
I'm
end.
up on points.
That is the episode. That is the end of episode 41. Guys, we did it. Congratulations. We made it. Episode 41, the Dirk Nowitzki episode, is in the books. Guys, we are 1 week away from decision day, a little less than a week. The playoffs are literally in sight. Guys, I'm excited. I'd like to once again thank Tim from Top Bins Talk for joining us today for an awesome interview. That was a lot of fun. But for myself, Matt, Dre, Kyle, and Alex, guys, once again, have a great rest of your evening. Be safe, be well, love thy neighbor, not in the sexual way, And just everyone be kind. You know what? That's it. Fuck it. We are about to get into a very, very interesting week in the world. And by the time this episode releases, it'll be the day after. But just do your
I might
best
not be alive.
Just do your best to love your fellow fucking human being. Let's just be honest here. Love your fellow fucking human being. That's it. Okay. I have nothing left to say. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
I'm ready to be disappointed again.